Welcome back. As a part of On the Beat, we provide you with information on crime trends, crime prevention techniques, and community programs. But you can get additional information by visiting the Baltimore County Police Department's website as well. The address is on your screen now. Press releases from the Baltimore County Police Department can be accessed on the website. Please visit our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages. Our social media sites are now on the screen. Please follow us to learn more about Police Department programs, activities, and what we're doing in the community. The Baltimore County Police Department is now hiring police cadets and police officers. For additional details, go to joinbaltimorecountypd.com or call 410-887-5542 to speak with recruiters. For the next part of our show, we will visit the Aviation Unit. Let's learn about this high-flying unit and the key role they play in keeping Baltimore County safe.
The unit began in 1983 with an officer who flies for the local news media stations, Roy Taylor. He owned a Cessna 150 that he leased to Baltimore County for $1. From there on, it kind of took off toward the late 80s and the 90s. As they used that for missions, they saw the need to buy a helicopter. The helicopters performed wonderfully, but as technology advanced, they saw a need for a newer helicopter. So they purchased in 2006, we received in 2007 the current helicopter we fly, which is a AS-350B3. So in the beginning, back in the 80s and 90s, we had a small office down at Strawberry Point at the bottom of the airport, the southernmost end. They would have to leave the office if a call came out, drive up to get the helicopter to roll, or the airplane, and roll it out of a hangar up by where the tower is located, up at the northernmost end. Around the 90s, they were able to purchase some T-hangars down by Strawberry Point and house the old OH-58s. With the purchase of the new helicopters we have now, the B-3s, came a new hangar, a larger facility. So the aviation team is authorized 11 people. It's one sergeant who is a trained pilot. We have 5 TFOs, tactical flight officers, and 5 pilots. Everybody on board is a sworn member of the agency. There are some agencies that do civilians, but we find it best that the pilot have training through the police department, that the TFO has training through the police department. We all understand the law enforcement mission a lot easier, whereas a civilian pilot might not understand that. The TFOs and the pilots both bring a lot of experience being sworn. Some of our members came from traffic backgrounds, some of them came from patrol backgrounds, and narcotics backgrounds, and all that talent put together really makes us a lot more efficient. Some of our pilots are military trained. They came from various backgrounds in the military, served multiple missions, some of them overseas, so they bring thousands of hours each to the mission. We also have some civilian trained officers that put themselves through training and built the hours on their own and then came down to the unit. So our minimum for a police patrol mission is 2. We need 1 pilot or a chauffeur, and we need 1 person to act as the TFO, the tactical flight officer, as the observer out the window that's watching everything on the ground. If we can, we're more efficient with a 3rd person in the back. We have another drop-down TV screen in the back that we can watch things on the ground. If we have a 3rd person in the back that can assist the whole mission, and it works a lot more efficiently. Sometimes our missions are just a little more dangerous because we're flying a little bit lower than most commercial aircraft. We're flying slower because we need to be able to see out the window what we're looking at and maneuver the camera. And we need to be able to find that landing spot. So when we're flying as the pilot, we're constantly scanning the sky looking for other aircraft that could come and cause any type of harm. We're also looking at the ground for an emergency spot, just to land just in case there is a failure. But we're also trying to help the TFO who's looking out the window and trying to perform his mission, because the ultimate goal is to help him find the missing person or the bad person, whoever we're looking for.
So as a tactical flight officer, we are in charge of all of the systems on board. Our primary function is the safety of who we're over top of, whether it be other police or civilians. Our job is to have that bird's eye and control that scene from above. We give that different perspective than they can see on the ground. We can see where things are growing, where things are shifting to. Even in critical incidents, you might have your perspective of it, but we're getting that whole picture from above. That's why some people think we talk a lot. Well, that's our job. We are there to communicate with everybody on the ground and let them know what everybody else is doing. And if we find a need to shift people, or if somebody else is in a crossfire situation, that's our job to tell them that.
The mission of the aviation team is to help patrol, support them in every way possible. We do multiple functions, we perform multiple functions. We do directed patrol over areas where they might have a crime trend of maybe sheds being burglarized or houses being burglarized. We will check Homeland Security ports and locations of interest that we're told to check. We just like being up for routine patrol. We are pretty much patrol car in the sky. We have LoJack assigned. We can find LoJack on vehicles. We can locate missing people and everything else. A typical day starts out with us coming into work, pre-flighting the helicopter, just going over, checking all the parts, make sure everything is the way it should be or where it should be. We then also do a flight readiness tool where we check to make sure that we're physically fit to fly and safe to fly. We'll also talk to a briefer and just check and make sure there are no flight restrictions in the area so that we can navigate the airspace safely. And then we usually would take off for a routine patrol mission, and it's a lot easier to be up in the air and ready for a call than to sit on the ground and wait to be dispatched to it, because that just adds time to the call, to our response time. And we know precious seconds matter out in the road. The manufacturer prefers that we go through a systematic checklist and go in a certain fashion around a helicopter. It's a very simple check of the helicopter. Our pre-flights are just a little more in depth. We like to open most of the cowlings, check all the oil levels, hydraulic fluid levels, make sure that all of our fluids are topped off. But we're also checking nuts and bolts to make sure everything is tight in most locations, make sure everything's grounded correctly. It just comes down to checking to make sure there's no airworthiness directives from the FAA that have asked us to check anything else in the aircraft. Our aircraft go through 30-hour, 100-hour, 600-hour inspections. We have a mechanic on hand that can do 30-hour inspections here at the hangar. Most of our major maintenance goes up to a place in Philadelphia where it's worked on for the 100-hour and 600 hours or anything that's broken. Over the years, we've recovered hundreds of vehicles with LoJack, just by people calling in and saying they see a suspicious vehicle and it leaves and we can follow it. For Alzheimer's and critical missing folks, as soon as they give us a description, we can be over the area searching for those people. Children, missing children a lot of times. We encourage children to wave at us when they're out walking around or playing on a playground. One, because we're friendly people and we like to wave at them and talk to them, and we like to be liked. Also because the kids, if they're missing, they may not realize it. If the kid doesn't know, maybe they've walked away and the parents can't find them. By them waving and getting our attention, it helps us find them quicker sometimes.
We've upgraded to the Westcam camera system. It's amazing. It has gyro stabilized vision where we can acquire a target, and it's the software inside of that camera is smart enough to keep it on that GPS location and lock it on there, which makes it for a more stable picture. The zoom capabilities on the new Westcam, we can read a tag from almost a mile away now, sometimes if not more. It also has a low light function that can grab just the smallest amount of light and enhance it, so that we can actually make things more distinguishable for us. It has heat seeking also. We've used it on like suicidals, a car that's left in the woods. We can look back there for the officer and see if that driver's side window is putting out heat, or if that windshield has a heat signature to it to tell us if that car's been running or if it's been sitting back there for a while. There's a lot of things that put off heat. I don't think people realize the ground holds heat. But then when you start seeing that heat signature move, that's when you can see that move before the naked eye can, especially at night, where you're searching with just a flashlight. You only get a certain area that your flashlight can reach, where that night vision, you can expand that range that it's watching. You can watch for a heat signature that moves. Now that heat signature might end up being a rabbit or a deer, but we call it interrogating the heat signature, where you start looking at it and watching for how it's moving or how it's laying down, or if it's tucked up under a log or a rock or something, and then we can steer those ground units to that heat signature. That way they can actually put eyes on it. The spotlight is it's called the Night Sun. It functions somewhere between 30 and 40 million candle power. That also can reach out. You can focus that beam to reach out to about a mile away and put off a lot of light on something. So whether it be lighting a scene for all the other officers that they're dealing with something, we can expand that scope that the light is putting out. That way they can have that light from above to, so that they can do what they need to do on the ground.
We can cover a very large area very quickly up in the air. We have a larger vantage point that you don't have on the ground. On the ground, you're kind of limited by buildings and walls. Up above, we have a lot more of a vantage point looking straight down into those open areas and houses, backyards, over fences. So we have a very good vantage point. It's great. We're actually saving lives out here. I mean, recently we found a person that was suicidal in the woods that had been missing for several hours. And if it had not been for the aerial eye, the person wouldn't have been found until they were dead. So we are saving lives out here, and that's what the trade-off is. We're saving lives. We're solving crimes very frequently, where our clearance rate and the amount of help that we're able to assist the patrol officers with is just phenomenal.
If you missed any part of the program or would like to see it again, it is available on the web. To see it, just go to the Baltimore County Police Department's website and then click on the Media and Public Affairs link and then click on the Beat under the Resources for Citizens paragraph. This brings us to the end of On the Beat, brought to you by the men and women of the Baltimore County Police Department and Chief Terrence B. Sheridan. I'm Corporal Sean Vinson, and thank you for joining us today, and we'll hope you be with us next time. Be safe out there. On the Beat.